Hello everyone, this is Anil from Internet Governance Institute and welcome to our session. Uh, our session is on combating live streaming of online child abuse content, and this is organized by Forum for Digital Equality and Internet Governance Institute. And our moderator for this session will be Anil Raghubanshi, who is founder and president of Child Safenet, and he brings 29 years of experience as a child protection professional working with UN agencies and other international organizations. He has also worked in Nepal as a researcher for promoting a safer and better internet for children, and he has been also a member of Global Advisory Group of Sexual Violence and Research Initiative, and he will be moderator for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anandji, for introducing me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and namaste, according to your respective time zones. I would like to welcome you to this session on live streaming of online child abuse. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panel speakers, Susie Hargreaves from Internet Watch Foundation, Shruti Moge from Facebook, and DSP Dipesh Joshi from Nepal Police. Susie Hargreaves, with the order of the British Empire, joined Internet Watch Foundation in September 2011 as the chief executive. She is a director of the UK Safer Internet Centre. She is also a member of the NCA-CEOP Command Strategic Governance Group, the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, Child Online Protection Working Group, and the Broadband Commission Working Group. She is an executive board member of the UK Council Internet Safety UK CIS. Susie is a CLOR Fellow and was a finalist for a European Woman of Achievement Award in 2004. She was awarded an Order of the British Empire in the Queen's Birthday Honours in 2016 for services to child online safety. Our another distinguished guest, panel speaker, Shruti Moge. She is working as the policy programs manager at Facebook. She leads gender and child safety programs for India and South Asia. She holds a master's degree in public policy from Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy and has studied journalism at Delhi University. Finally, I would like to introduce DSP Dipesh Joshi. Mr. Joshi is a Deputy Superintendent of Police at Cyber Bureau of Nepal Police. He is a computer engineer and has been a cybercrime investigator and a supervisor of Cyber Forensic Unit at the Cyber Bureau, and he joined Nepal Police 14 years ago. He is also working as the focal person for NECMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Nepal Telecom Authority, and Child Safenet. And now let me talk about the objectives of this session. The session aims at discussing the challenges of live streaming of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. And the main objectives of the sessions are to discuss trends of live streaming of child sexual abuse and exploitation, vulnerabilities, and potential risks and harms. And the second objective is to discuss major national and international interventions on combating live streaming of child sexual abuse. And thirdly, and finally, to discuss the roles of national and international stakeholders to combat live streaming of child sexual abuse and exploitation. Here for the session, we have made plan for 1 hour, the allocated time for the session. We will have rounds of question answer session with the panel speakers. Then finally, we'll take questions from the participants. Please send questions on chat box and please ask questions related to the session. And also thank you for muting your video and mic. This is for the participants other than the panel speakers. Now, before we talk about the live streaming issue, I would like to make a short presentation about live streaming and also about how this is affecting all of us, our children, just to give us an overview and also to make everyone at the same page. Let me share the screen. Hello, can you share the screen? Yes? Okay. So this is a very brief presentation on live streaming. As I mentioned, that the definition of live streaming of child sexual abuse. It's a real-time online broadcasting of child sexual abuse. It's real-time, it's live, and it's online. It's broadcasting like one or more people will be viewing that broadcast. Or when the child is forced to appear in front of a live webcam to engage in sexual acts. So it has a component of live, it has a component of using the webcam and also to engaging in sexual acts. And the abusers or the predators or the viewers can be passive. They will pay to watch. They will be just watching the abuse as a video, or they could be active. They can communicate with the child or the agent and asking the child to perform specific sexual acts. Now, I would like to present you some statistics from a study conducted by IWF, Internet Watch Foundation, which has revealed shocking statistics on children being groomed, coerced, and blackmailed into live streaming of sexual abuse. According to the study conducted in 2018, 98% of children were aged 13 years or under, below 13. And 28% were aged 10 and under. And most of them were girls, 96%. And 96% showed a child on their own home, on their own, without anybody with them, or in a home environment. And 18% categorized, 18% of such live streaming were categorized as category A, which includes rape and sexual torture of children. And 40% were categorized as category A or B, which indicates serious sexual abuse. Now, I would like to briefly talk about some key findings of a draft report of a study conducted by Child Safenet and ECPAD Luxembourg in 2020. So we have conducted this study in Kathmandu Valley and found that 12.8% of children who participated in the study said they had experienced live webcam sexual abuse. And it's very shocking to see that out of the total 12.8%, about 18.58% were male and 6.88% were female. And relation with the person, most of them said that they had their friends or boyfriends with whom they did this type of sexual video exchanges, and also with some best friends and online friends. But they also talk about the people who were strangers. And the number of people who were involved in live streaming is not only 1-to-1. There were people, more than one person. About 83% said there were more than one person who were involved in watching or interacting with the child, and only 17.19% said there were only one person. And the reasons for participating in such live streaming was many of them said they wanted to do, but they were also said they were scared to say no. Like 36.36% of female and 25.86% of male said they were scared to say that. And also there were significant percentage of female who said they were pressurized. It's about 23%, and also were blackmailed, 9%. And boys said that they were given money. We didn't get response from girls if they were given money or given any such incentive to do such things. And the impacts of live streaming of sexual abuse. It's very shocking to see that although here in the chart it may look small, if you look at the right hand side, the most right hand side part, they said 22% of those who were involved in live streaming said they don't want to live anymore. 22% of female and 21% male. It shows they were not feeling good about this, and they were affected very much. And 73% said of the female said they had problem with eating, and 45% said male said they have problem with eating. And there are children and young people, they said they had trouble with sleeping, they're concerned about their future, they were angry, helpless, lonely, scared, felt sad. So there are many very negative mental, psychological impacts were there from live streaming of sexual abuse. Now, I would like to give you a little insight on how the live streaming is trending globally, including non-sexual streaming. Like 99% increase in live streaming is because of after the COVID. Like compared to the data from 2019 to 2020 April, so there's an increase from 1971 billion to 3,934 billion live streaming viewers, and 63% of people are aged between 18 to 34. And live streaming is expected to account for 82% of all internet traffic by the end of 2020. And due to COVID-19, live streaming views increased by 45% across platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So in general, live streaming is increasing. And when live streaming is increasing, the unsafe use of live streaming and also the easy access for people to reach children also makes children very vulnerable. So this is a backgrounder, and also we'll get more insights, more information during the session. Thank you. With this, I would like to now start the question and answer session. And we have some questions for our panel speakers, specific question for our panel speakers. And I would like to start with Susie. IWF is a leading organization working on detecting and removing child sexual abuse imagery. From your technical expertise, your experience and knowledge, we'd like to know how technology can contribute in detecting live streaming of child sexual abuse and exploitation and protect children.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning. It's morning in the UK, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all today. The IWF is an international hotline, and we have 40 reporting portals around the world, enabling people to report into us. In relation to live streaming, what I wanted to just talk about is the live streaming that we see, which is the live streaming will vary from people going onto a live stream and paying for children to be sexually abused in, say, in another country, through to what we generally see, which is what we would describe as self-generated content. So this is children in their bedrooms and domestic settings who are clearly being coerced to perform sexual acts. And then that, not unbeknownst to them, that's recorded and then shared on child sexual abuse websites. And the statistics you gave, that you quoted us, were shocking at the time, but I'm afraid it's got a lot worse. So just to give you an example, the year we did that research, there was 2,000 reports that we assessed as part of that research. Yet in 2019, about 29% of all the content we removed was self-generated, and that was actually 38,000 reports. And really sadly, I can tell you in 2020, 44% of what we've removed so far this year, and we're on target to remove more content than ever before, has actually been self-generated content. And of that, 75% is girls aged 11 to 13. So we have this incredible crisis, particularly around this age group of children. So 11 to 13, very, very vulnerable age group. So how can we deal with this issue? So bear in mind, we are not able to see this when it's actually happening. By the time it comes to us to take action, that content has already been shared. So we have to work very carefully with police and other partners who are actually trying to address it at the point of the crime taking place. But for us to tackle it, I think there are technology is one of the answers, but also we have to tackle it through education and awareness. So in terms of technology, how do we tackle it? Well, we are able to, the way we work is we're able to proactively search for the content, but we're also able to use technology. And in the last couple of years, we've been able to hash images. That means we can put a digital fingerprint on known images, and then using crawlers, we can go out and search the internet for matches. And that gives hope to some of the children who are in those images. We also have a pilot project we're working on in the UK at the moment, enabling young people to self-refer suspected images of themselves that have been shared, so that we can actually go out, match them, and then remove them. And please bear in mind that one of the issues for us is the duplicates. An example of this would be one image we know of a young woman had been shared 70,000 times on the internet. So what we need is technology that will go out and find the matches, bring them back so we can have them removed. But sadly, that will not stop the problem without the education and awareness piece being in place. Thank you.
Anil, you're mute.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very good to hear that you are doing very good job, and also the situation has got worsened compared to 2018 to 2020, and because of high volume of video and live streaming, it is projected that the problem will rise. And it's good that your technical advancement and your technical work is helping to do this in a very good way. Particularly, I would like to also know about how IWF can contribute in protecting children from live streaming, particularly of sexual exploitation and abuse of children, particularly on live streaming.
Okay, so I think we can make a big contribution because we are funded by the internet companies. So the biggest internet companies in the world are Google's, Amazon's, Facebook's, Microsoft's, and internet companies around the world work in partnership with us. So they can take our services, so includes our hash list, which I just described to you, which currently has about over 500,000 unique images on it. And they can take that and use it to scan against any uploads, so to make sure that nobody attempts to try and distribute one of those images on their networks. We also work with governments around the world, and we also work with law enforcement. So collectively, and other hotlines. So collectively, we work all together to try and fight the problem. In terms of how to actually talk directly to children and the carers and parents, one of the things that we try and do is we're a member of the UK Safer Internet Centre. So we work with partners who deal directly with schools and deal directly with young people. And we're in the process of developing a national campaign, particularly in the UK in the first instance, to actually build young people's resilience. And I think one of the things that we need to be aware of is that this is a scary time generally. So the last thing we need to do is scare children into thinking that they are at fault or anything, because children who are coerced into sharing these images are victims, and we need to find ways to support them, but also their parents and carers. And just to give you an example of what we're up against, one of the videos I've seen, which is about a child who we've aged at 11, which is about an hour long. She's in her bedroom, very nice, smart bedroom, engaged in category A activities, clearly being coerced because she's so little. And in the middle of this video, you hear someone knock on the door shouting, "Dinner's ready." So in fact, her parents are not even aware of what's happening in the bedroom. So we have to educate at lots of different levels, but we have to do it in a way that empowers young people and doesn't scare them, because this is scary stuff. And if they knew what was happening to those videos and how they were being shared, then it would be, heartbreaking for them. So it's about using the technology, it's about working with the companies, it's about working with law enforcement, and it's about working with parents and teachers and children themselves to try and build the whole picture to protect them.
Thank you so much, Susie. It's about working with people, working with children, also not spreading the message that children are helpless or everything is bad, but to make their internet use safer and develop safe habits and make them aware, and also use the technology to help. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to move to Shruti. As the leading social media platform, Facebook enjoys one of the biggest number of the followers and the users globally. As the leading social media company, you have roles, responsibilities, and also accountability for internet safety. How are you contributing to protection of children online?
Firstly, I would like to thank IGF for giving me this opportunity to talk about a very, very important issue, which is protection of children online. Safety of women, children is a priority for Facebook. To answer specifically your question about how are we contributing to protection of children online, it's a three-step process. So at Facebook, we rely on a combination of policies, technology and tools, and people to keep our platforms safe. And because we want Facebook and Instagram to be a place where people can express themselves freely and still feel safe. So what we have is we have defined a clear set of policies which are called community standards on Facebook and community guidelines on Instagram, which essentially define what is okay to share and what is not okay to share. Specifically on this issue, we do not allow content that sexually exploits or endangers children. And whenever we are made aware of sexual exploitation of children, we report it to NECMEC in compliance with applicable law. We've also published Facebook transparency reports every quarter to give our community visibility on how we're enforcing our policies. So in Q2 of 2020 this year, we've removed 9.5 million pieces of content on child nudity and sexual exploitation of children. So that is the first part. The second part is that we invest in technology and tools in a big way. So we use automated systems to prevent upload of CI and non-consensual intimate images. Whenever we identify a harmful piece of content which is pertaining to child exploitation or graphic violence, we have technology that can help us find duplicates and then prevent them from being shared. We've also created some of these technologies in-house, and we've open sourced these technologies for small NGOs who are also working towards keeping the internet safer. And we've also taken steps across our family of apps to make sure that the broader internet is safer for children. So which includes, running photo DNA on links that are shared on our apps from other internet sites and associated content to detect CEI, which is housed elsewhere on the internet. And again, when we're made aware of it, we report it to NECMEC, and we work with local law enforcement around the world. We also have artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect content that contains child nudity and child exploitative content. In addition to that, we do invest in safety tools, which I'm sure you all are aware of and also use, which is essentially blocking and reporting, because we also know that we are a big community and we can't always prevent and catch everything. So we rely on our users to report content that is abusive, and then we take appropriate action on it based on our community standards. We also have special protections for minors on Facebook, Instagram, and messengers. So recently, we've started providing tips to underage people who use our platform in terms of how to be cautious when engaging with adults they may not know, and just to empower them on how to block or ignore someone. So education awareness is a big part of what we do. And that brings me to the last and the most important part, and that's working with industry leaders, working with NGOs, working with NECMEC, IWF from across the world. So we have global partnerships and we have local partnerships. We have a Facebook Safety Advisory Board, which is a board essentially that we rely on to discuss and improve our policies, take feedback on our policies and enforcement around online safety issues, especially children. And then we are also part of global alliances like Project Protect to fight this abuse and protect kids online. So this is, broadly what we do in terms of protecting children. And it is it's a top priority for us at Facebook and our family of apps.
Okay, thank you so much. In order to look at the specific response on live streaming, can you please tell us briefly about how Facebook is addressing this issue? Because there are many people using Facebook Live, Facebook Story, and other things to live streaming their experiences, what they do. But we also need to be careful that those platforms are not misused.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you detect and also protect children online live streaming?
Yeah. So specifically on Facebook Live, I think Facebook Live is a very, very popular product that people use on Facebook. A lot of people use it for positive purposes like sharing a moment with their friends, raising awareness for a cause they care about. But we're aware that Live can be abused, and so we want to take steps to limit that abuse. The most interesting part about Live is that that Live is so instant, and there is a certain immediacy attached to it, which brings unique challenges, especially when we are enforcing our policies, so community standards and guidelines. And so we know that we have to be very, very responsible in our approach. So there are a couple of ways we prevent any content and especially child exploitation over live streaming. First is our community standards. So all our community standards, they apply to live videos as well, just as they do with other types of content that is available on Facebook and Instagram. So if someone violates our community standards while using live, we want to interrupt those streams immediately, as quickly as possible when they're reported to us. Also, people can report violations during a live broadcast. So they don't have to wait until the broadcast is over. They can report as and when it is happening. And we have global teams that essentially review this content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in more than 50 languages. And we have dedicated teams that can respond to these reports immediately. We also monitor live broadcasts when they reach a certain level of popularity, when they become viral and are trending. So we make sure that they don't violate our community standards. And if they do, we action them. We've also improved prioritization and coordination with first responders. So including, using artificial intelligence to prioritize reports on videos that are likely to contain any violent or harmful acts. And then in a very rare instance that a child is in danger, we work with the local law enforcement agency to make sure that, enough exchange of information is conducted and the child is safe. And just in terms of investing in technology, we are very committed to innovation in this space because at the scale that we operate, I think it's very, very important for us to continuously make sure that we're using technology, and we have teams that are focusing on advancing this technology, especially to detect video. That is a commitment that we are doing to further improving how we make sure that this kind of content is not available on our platforms, and how we are enforcing, how we have better reviewing tools, how we are escalating content to law enforcement agencies. So this is broadly how we make sure that we protect children from any form of live streaming of abuse. And this is what we do in terms of our policies, in terms of feedback, and in terms of developing technology.
Okay, thank you, Shruti. Very informative, and let's hope we can work together with other partners to make the internet safer while people use Facebook. We are a bit running behind the time, about 6 minutes or 8 minutes. So we need to be quicker. And also I'm seeing some questions from participants. The questions could be answered by the panel speakers if these questions are addressed to them on chat boxes. So I request the panel speakers to answer those questions. Otherwise, I would like to request the participants to hold the questions for the session for question and answer with the panel speakers at the end of this session, towards the end of this session. So with this, I would like to move to DSP, Mr. Dipesh Joshi. I have a couple of questions for you regarding your work at the Central Cyber Bureau of Nepal Police. This is the Cyber Bureau is the focal law enforcement agency in Nepal, and you receive a lot of cases on cyber crimes. Can you please let us know what type of cases related to live streaming of child sexual abuse you receive at the Cyber Bureau, the type and the prevalence of the cases, how many cases or what type of cases you receive?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, and namaste. As Anil ji said, that we are the specialized unit for cybercrime investigation, and regarding the child exploitation, we received almost 104 cases last year, and within these 2 months, we are receiving 25 cases for the children exploitation, and mainly male and female. Female are more victims than male child. So especially the cyberbullying for children and child pornography, the major cases we are receiving. And recently we have been tying up with the NECMEC, that is National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, from 17th September. And for the last 10 days, we are receiving 649 cases of the child exploitation. So for Nepal only. So the cases of child exploitation is increasing drastically, and it might be due to the lockdown also. We have received 104 cases last year, within whole year, but within the lockdown, that is a 4 months period, we are receiving more than 48. That is almost a 50% cases during the lockdown also. So this is the leisure time for the children or for the suspects also to exploit them. So these are the major cases I am finding within this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipesh sir. We know that it's not easy to work in a situation where the technology awareness and the legal complexities are there. Can you please also let us know what type of complexities are there in law enforcement in Nepal addressing cyber crimes against children?
Okay, definitely. Thank you, sir. Cyber in Nepal, we are taking the cyber crimes under the Electronic Transaction Act 2063, 2008 AD. That is, the cyber crimes laws are not specialized, not point wise it is described, but IT bill is on preparation. So after the issuing of IT bill, we may we make to best in these things. So whatever the cyber crimes, what we call cyber crimes, we take it as a this under the Electronic Transaction Act. So this is the major back in our laws. So we must build the laws as quickly as possible regarding cyber crimes, and especially for children, addressing the children related cyber crimes. And the another one thing is we have just 35 days period for investigation. That means within these 35 days, we have to submit our cases to court. So this is the very limited time. As you know that we have to ask user detail requests to the social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and other things. And they will answer almost 40-45 days it takes. So we are lagging behind the time. So this timing issue is also one of the major cases. And also the most important cases or complexity is the issue of MLAT. What the social sites said, that's all, most of the social sites are outside our country. So they are not tied up with us. That means mutual legal assistance treaty we have not done. So they are not mandatory to give the user detail to us. So we are not getting the proper information at right place, right time. So this issue of MLAT is also one of the issues. And also another thing is if the perpetrator does crimes outside the country, then the Facebook or other social media says that it is out of your jurisdiction, so we cannot give you the information. So but in our laws, even the suspect is outside the country, we can file a case against them. So, but we are not getting information from the social media cooperation. So this is the issue of mainly complexities, and also the manpower and technical expertise and other tools and technology, forensic tools are some of the limitations. So despite of these limitations also, we are doing our best. We have almost filed cases of 12 children to the court. And also one of the suspect is in the minor rehabilitation center also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DSP Dipesh Joshi, sir. With this, I would like to also remind and also to suggest that regarding law enforcement in Nepal, the ETA, the Electronic Transaction Act, is not the only act related to the cyber harms and cyber crimes against children or to anyone. Particularly in case of children, we have a very good law, the Children's Act, the acts relating to children. It was adopted very recently, last year, I think 2018. And that law has an article 66, which has a very good description of all different types of the things we are talking about, very well defined forms of these online harms against children, and also has increased the reporting period from 35 days to now anybody who is 1 year above the age of the child, up to 19 years, they can report the case. So it has increased the reporting period. And also we have another act which is also related to cybercrime, that is the criminal code. It also talks about protecting people, not only children, from cybercrime. So I'm thinking like police will also consider using these laws to make more flexibility in addressing the legal challenges in dealing with such cases. Thank you so much. Now, looking at the time, now we are exactly 5 minutes behind the schedule. It's at 13:10, and also, yeah, okay, yeah, no, so it's fine. Yeah, what we are now looking at is we have some specific questions related to live streaming of child sexual abuse and how the representatives of the organizations participating in this program as the panel speakers are handling these things. So the questions are not targeted to any panel speaker. You are free to answer the questions if you wish to do so, or if it is relevant to you. So the legal part, DSP Dipesh Joshi has already mentioned, so we know about the legal challenges in Nepal. My first question is about what are the key challenges in tackling live streaming of child sexual abuse and exploitation? So any of the panel speaker may answer this question. Okay, Susie.
Okay, so bear in mind, thank you for that question, and thank you to the other panel speakers. That was really interesting. Thank you. Bear in mind that live streaming, as I say, covers children being coerced in their bedrooms and self-generated content through to children who are potentially being exploited by family relatives or whatever in countries and being sexually abused for live cameras, you know, and live streaming in that way. So the challenges that occur at the moment from a technological point of view is that it is really almost impossible to capture crimes when they're actually happening on live streaming. So we still are not at a stage where technology can identify anywhere in the world where suddenly people are abusing children on demand. And that's really difficult. So the challenge is huge. In the same way as grooming, the challenge is huge, that when children are being groomed into, coerced into doing these sexual acts, that actually that's really difficult to identify before the crime has taken place or during the crime. So we are all working really hard, developing new technologies to find ways to intervene and to find this crime before it happens, because obviously once it's happened, the crime has happened, the child has been abused. So I think there is a myth that that technology is at a stage where it can intervene on any single level. And the one thing that you can't intervene on is people's behavior generally using technology. So, you know, we need to be aware that to my knowledge, the big technology companies are doing their absolute utmost to develop new technical tools to intervene and find these crimes where they can. But it has to go hand in hand with legislation, with law enforcement action, with education and awareness, because there is no magic bullet solution in terms of technology right now, in terms of live streaming. But I'm sure as, you know, artificial intelligence gets better, as classifiers get better, as we get, use technology more and more, we'll get more adept at finding this content and hopefully be able to intervene and rescue and safeguard these children before the crimes happened. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone who would like to answer? Shruti or Dipesh sir has already answered. Do you have any thought on this, or we can move to another question if not? Okay, so the next question is about working together with different partners, different organizations, and the government. What type of collaboration and coordination mechanisms will be required at the national, regional, and international levels to combat live streaming of child sexual abuse and exploitation? What type of collaboration and coordination mechanisms will be required?
I can go, and
yes,
I can talk from a South Asia perspective, because this is the region where we work in. So child exploitation is a problem across the internet, and it's our collective responsibility, from social media platforms to messaging platforms, gaming platforms, internet service providers. So it is definitely an industry-wide problem, and it requires a solution that is also industry-wide. And we also need a robust international effort to combat this problem. So at a national level, and I can talk from a South Asia perspective, we work very closely with law enforcement agencies to make sure that there is the right kind of information is being shared at the right time. We also have global collaborations with NECMEC and IWF as well. We also invest a lot in getting feedback on our policies. So we work with local partners, with local NGOs and CSOs who have the knowledge and insight on how actually how is the exploitation happening on ground, and how the offline is sort of turning online. And we also do invest a lot in education and awareness. So in APAC and globally, we have programs like We Think Digital, Get Digital, to make sure that not just young people, but also parents, educators, NGOs have enough tools and understanding on how important it is to be responsible and safe on internet, and what are some of the tools like digital citizenship, safety tools. What is it exactly that you need to know to be safe and responsible on the platform? So I think that is a big investment that we're doing across our family of apps. We also have a Facebook safety center, and there is just investment in terms of resources like bullying prevention portal, youth portal. And then obviously we are part of bigger consortiums and bigger coalitions like Project Protect. So Facebook joined Google, Microsoft, and 15 other tech companies to announce the formation of this Project Protect, which is essentially a plan to combat online child sexual abuse. And there are 5 key areas, which include technological innovation, collective action, independent research, information and knowledge sharing between stakeholders, and transparency and accountability. So I think at a regional level, at a national level, and at an international level, it is very, very important to have a wide gamut of collaborations and activities and programs to make sure that internet is a safer space for everyone, but especially children.
Thank you, Shruti. Now, looking at the time, we have exactly how many minutes? 12 minutes, 13 minutes left. So let's see how we can best use this time. Now, I would like to request the participants to send your questions on chat boxes. So we'll have the questions to the panel speakers. Let me take the questions from the chat box. Okay.
Could I say something about partnership? Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. So obviously I just want to agree with everything that's been said so far from Shruti. And one of the things I was involved with from the beginning was the We Protect Global Alliance. So We Protect was established as an international alliance of tech companies, NGOs, law enforcement, and governments around the world to fight and end the sexual exploitation of children. And one of the things that We Protect has developed is the Model National Response, which is basically a really simple guide for countries, the things they need to do, the building blocks that need to be put in place in order to fight child sexual exploitation and abuse. And the last summit was held in Ethiopia last year at the African Union. And it's really important that it works, not just for the global north, but for the global south, and that actually we all work collectively. And one of the things that, is really important is that this is an issue where it's not about public, personal interest or financial gain. It's in everybody's interest, whether it's from a business point of view, from a sort of ethical point of view, and a moral responsibility to all work together. And I think this is an area where people have all stepped up and started working together. Unfortunately, there's still quite a lot to be done in terms of legislation in some countries to ensure that children are not victimized or held responsible or required to prove that abuse has happened. So there's still a lot to do in terms of cultural and behavioral attitudes towards the issue. But I think I can see in the 9 years I've been doing this, that gradually people have been stepping up, because I've never met anyone professionally who didn't think it was a good idea to fight and do everything they could to get rid of online child sexual abuse. The challenge is we are always playing catch up against the perpetrators. And I think I would speak, every single interview I'm asked, can industry do more? And of course, industry can do more, because we can all do more, because until we've actually got rid of child sexual abuse, none of us can say we've done enough. But I just think the way to do it is by working together. So partnership is absolutely key to fighting the problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now let me take some questions, and how many questions we can take. Let's see. There's a question from Yik San Sin, and the question it says to Susie, but it seems like it's about Facebook. The question is: Facebook is relying on self-regulation on content, whether it is considering to adopt a co-regulation approach to regulate the content together with the local government. If not, why not? Maybe Shruti can answer this.
So, this question is not directly relevant to what we're talking about. Of course, there are work streams that are developing globally and in India that are working towards it. I may not be the best person to comment, so I will not.
Okay.
But there are two other questions. Can I quickly respond to those?
Okay. Yeah, please.
The first one is about the open source photo and video matching technology. What I've done is I've shared a link for everyone to see what those technologies look like. So we open sourced these technologies around the same time last year. And we open source these algorithms on GitHub. So if you go to the link, you can go to GitHub and you can look at the technology which industry partners, small developers, nonprofits can actually download and can use to identify abusive content and share hashes. If there is more information that is required, you can find everything on that link that I've shared. That is the first question. I think there was the other question around how do we tackle fake accounts? So fake accounts, as you know, is an issue on Facebook. And if you look at the Facebook transparency report, we have shared how many accounts that are fake are actually taken down, because our goal is to remove as many fake accounts as we can, because some of these accounts also are created with malicious intent to just violate our policies, or to represent a business or an organization which has malicious intent. So we prioritize our enforcement against these fake accounts that we seek to cause harm. And in Q2 2020, we have removed 1.5 billion pieces of fake accounts, and this is an ongoing process. So we continue to improve our ability to detect and to block attempts to create any of these fake accounts. And we hope that our detection systems will help us prevent these attempts to create fake accounts every day. But this is a proactive effort, and we make sure that fake accounts have no place on our platforms. So these are the two questions that I saw.
Okay, thank you so much. If Susie and Dipesh has noted questions, maybe you can also answer some of the questions from the chat boxes.
So the question in terms of regulation, which I do think is interesting, is that the UK is we're currently going through legislation, online harms legislation, and a regulator is coming in and will be regulating. It's not 100% clear yet who's going to be within scope of the regulator, but social media will be. And this is really interesting. So we're all working together to ensure that we don't get bad regulations. So we don't want to undo the good work that's gone so far. But at the same time, there will be a requirement on companies to report in a different way in the future in the UK. And, that's really interesting. I think a lot of people are kind of looking to see what's going to happen with that, because it's going to sort of setting the tone for other countries. So lots of potential, but also potentially lots of risk to undo a lot of the really good work. Because one of my fears around trying to regulate in the technological space is you can't regulate without actually working with the tech companies, the organizations that you're regulating, because that you rely on them to actually provide you with the information. But also, this is a space that moves so incredibly quickly in terms of technology changing from second to second almost, that you have to have real absolute flexibility. Otherwise, very quickly, legislation and regulation could be out of date. So we need to ensure that we continue to work together and that, again, we're able to respond to new innovation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Because of the time, we will take one question, last question.
There is a question from Tajana. She is just 13 years old and from...
Yes, I'm taking her question. Yes, I saw that. We have a question from a 13-year-old child from Nepal, Tajana Shrestha. She says, I am Tajana Shrestha, I'm 13 years old and study in grade 8. Please guide us. How can we be protected from child abuse? And what are the techniques and tools we have to use during accessing Facebook and other social media? This is a question for Ms. Moge and Susie.
We don't have more than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so very brief. Yeah.
Resources, so I'm just adding those resources in the chat section so that it's easier for her to just access them from there.
Okay, so the link is given by Susie. And Susie, would you like to add anything?
I think it's a yes, fantastic question. Thank you so much, because it's exactly the sort of person we want to hear from, because it's our job to do what we can to help protect you. So I think there are lots of ways. There are lots of resources there from companies. Certainly from the organisation I'm part of, the UK Safer Internet Centre, there's information about keeping yourself safe online. Obviously schools, parents have a responsibility, but my view is, in terms of really keeping yourself safe, do not enter into conversations with people you do not know on social media. Do not respond to requests. You do not know who's at the other end of the camera. They may tell you they're a 16-year-old girl and they might be a 55-year-old man. So actually, it's not actually normal behavior for people to ask people to send naked pictures or to share intimate pictures. So do not be coerced or tricked into doing that. You're not in the wrong, they're in the wrong. So really question, what is this person trying to do? And, find out as much as you can. Don't stop using the internet. The internet is wonderful, but just make sure you just hold back a little bit and think about what people might be wanting when they ask you for these images.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much. We have 2 minutes more to close this session. I would like to close by saying that this session helped us to get a better understanding on the issue. And as we discussed, live streaming of child sexual abuse is an emerging issue. Children are increasingly affected, and we receive valuable insights from the speakers today. And we also agree that we need to invest in protecting children online, including from live streaming of sexual abuse. We can and will work to make the internet a safer and a better place for children. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who has helped to make this possible. I would like to thank all panel speakers, Susie, Hargreaves, Order of the British Empire, Shruti Moge, DSP Dipesh Joshi, and the organizer of this program, Ms. Kamala Adhikari, the treasurer of Forum for Digital Equality, Mr. Babu Aryal, co-moderator and the facilitator, and also the chief executive officer of Internet Governance Institute, Mr. Ananda Gautam of Internet Governance Institute for technical support, and the organizer, the Asia Pacific Regional IGF. Thank you very much. We had a very wonderful session today, and also we look forward to make it better, and also we look forward to have children enjoying and using the technology for their own benefit, and also to be free from all types of violence, abuse, and exploitation online. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, the organizers and speaker. And I hope that everyone enjoyed the session and continue your support and participations in this community. So after joining all the session, we will have another session coming up next. But just to kindly remind you, we are also going to have a virtual socials happening this evening at 10 UTC time. This social event, it's organized and hosted by the Youth IGF, and hope to see all of you there. Also, kindly remind all of you to input your opinion and comments onto our synthesis document and continue your support to the global IGF movement. Thanks for joining the session.
Thank you.